All right, this is Lynn with Lynns Hangouts, and we're here today at Swabbies On The River, checking in with our Journey tribute band, Departure. Very cool, absolutely. Actually, we're kind of listening to Heart right now.
We are. They sound great. They sound great.
Yep, yep. And I've actually asked lead guitarist Andy Gomez to chat with us for a bit. So thanks, Andy, for hanging out with us today.
Thanks again, Lynn, for having us. So, we really appreciate everything you do, and we're so happy to be a part of this.
Thank you. That's awesome. I can't wait to see you guys up on stage.
I'm ready.
Coming real soon.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Well, you and I got a chance to chat when you played at Louis with Endangered Souls.
That's right.
Yep, and you were telling me some pretty cool things about your musical background. So let's learn some more about you.
Oh, geez. I'm a self-taught musician, which I know a lot of criticism has been made. You know, a lot of people will encourage you to get lessons so you can learn what you're doing. I didn't have a whole lot of extra money when I was growing up. I started playing in 1981 and wasn't old enough to work yet. So it's like, well, let's see if we can figure this out. You know, and I've learned a lot from watching other guys and, you know, going to big concerts, seeing Journey, of course. I've learned so much watching Neil and a lot of my other heroes and stuff. I think it's kind of a big circle. You know, you figure you start out and if you have lessons, you get here faster. But if you don't, you still get here. It just takes a little bit longer, you know. But the things that I believe I've experienced because I haven't had lessons, all the being in touch with spirituality, and there's a lot of times where I've been blessed enough. Sometimes I see colors with the notes that I'm playing, and I've been just very grateful of that because I know that's something that a lot of musicians chase. So I feel real fortunate about that, and it's probably just because of how I taught myself.
That's awesome. Have you always had that ability?
No, I had to become pretty fluent on the instrument first. When I didn't know what I was doing, you know, it might have been colors, but they might not have been pretty, you know.
Not pretty.
The color of vomit, I don't know. You know, it might have still been colors.
Black and gray and white, so there's no real vivids here.
Right. This band has helped that because, you know, to cover Neil Schon is no easy feat.
That's so true.
And it's taken a lot of work. And it helps that we've been doing it for almost 7 years now. That really helps. You know, you start to settle into what your notes are, and then you start to take it to a different place, and that's when the colors start to happen.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Very lucky.
Really a neat story.
Very lucky.
I love it. So in the early 80s, 81 you said? You started playing? So how old were you then, if I can ask that?
In 81, I was 13.
Whoa, that's awesome.
13 years old.
Very cool.
I took a break in about 1993. 93? Yeah, 93. Stopped playing altogether. You know, and I moved out here in 1988. Played with a bunch of Sacramento bands. Had my own original band out here. Played at the Boardwalk and stuff with a bunch of local bands. And then it just all stopped. You know, the momentum stopped. So I got into bicycle racing of all things. So I didn't touch my guitar for about 13 years. And then in 2000, no, maybe it was 11 years. So in 2004, I guess it was 11 years, I picked it back up and started playing with a singer-songwriter, and then that led to, you know, this band, and that led to that band. I played with Soul Distortion. I had an original project called Twilight Park with a singer-songwriter named Emily Adams, great guitar player named Ray LeBay. Martin Smith actually joined that band also. I found Martin when we had Twilight Park going. And then the original drummer for Departure, Jeff Porter, was a part of that for a second also.
Oh, sweet.
So just from playing year in and year out, over the last 11 years now, I guess it is, and being in a different spot when I'm in my late 30s compared to when I'm in my 20s, really helped a lot. The melodies I was hearing were much different.
Focus is totally different.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. It just all falls into place at the right time.
Right. And that coincides, as funny as it is, my wife would probably get a kick out of this. Back in the 20s, when I was in my 20s, I would have loved to have all the tension that I get now.
Oh, right.
Now that I have what I want, see dear, I'm showing it, now that I have what I want and I'm not looking for anything else, now it's thrown at me left and right.
I know, there are certain things in life that just aren't fair. Right?
It's really okay.
That's
you know,
so
it's really okay.
I love it.
It really is. Something that led me to this band was the whole time I was growing up, when I was playing back when I was a teenager, we'd have family get-togethers, and I had a grandmother I was very close to. I don't know if I told you the story yet or not, but I was very close to her. And when she would come over, she'd say, "Andy, play something for me." And you know, back in my rudimentary stage, I'd be trying to piece chords together. So when I moved out here and I got my band going, you know, I'd be talking to her and she'd say, "Oh, so how'd the show go?" And I'd be like, "Oh, there was 10 people there." And she'd say, "Well, why don't you join a cover band where people know the music?" And I would always say, "Well, Grandma, if people are going to be clapping, I want it to be because they're clapping because of my music, you know, selfish thoughts." And she would say, "Well, Andy, if people are having a great time and you're having a great time and you're playing your guitar, what difference does it make whose music it is?" But I would always come back with, "Well, I want it to be my music and stuff." And then Lynn, she passed away, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, that's when I shaved my head the first time. I just wasn't getting past it. You know, I'm like, I need a clean slate here. But once that happened, the question came back around because Frankie, the singer in our band, had a Craigslist ad going, trying to start a Journey tribute band, and I just wasn't interested at all. I love Journey, but I'm like, no, I had my original band going, you know, I wasn't interested. And then the question came back around after she was gone. What difference does it make whose music it is? And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whose music it is. If people are having a good time, and then that's when everything fell into place. And bam, here we are. There's going to be 500-600 people here tonight. You know,
that was the key.
That was it. That was the turning point. That was the turning point.
Your aha moment.
Yeah, exactly,
Wow.
exactly. And there's some, there's some regret because she hasn't seen any of this success. You know, folks say that she's watching, and I believe that in my heart. But I also know that it took that for me to become aware.
That's true.
It doesn't matter whose music it
Perhaps
is.
she was willing to help you that way.
That could be. That could be. That could be. So I don't take any note for granted. I don't take any second for granted. This is all bonus. And you know, I played a gig in Modesto last night with Flat Busted. I filled in with them. Drove back at 2 in the morning. Got home at 3:30, just dead tired. And then here we are again today. But I'll rest when I'm dead. You know, I will do this as much as I can. As many chances as I get to plug in and play, I'll take it. I'll take it because life is short. Life is short.
Yeah, take away again. Exactly. You can sleep later. Sleep during the week.
Right.
Well, do you play any other instruments?
You know, I've kind of messed around with bass a little bit, but I sound like a guitar player playing bass, so I just leave it alone. I just leave it alone. One thing that Departure's helped with is I've really worked on my vocals quite a bit, and it's still not my strong point. But for example, I sang 4 songs last night. I'm going to sing 1 song here tonight. You know, so that's come along quite a bit. Learning how to harmonize vocally with these guys also has been really good because Frankie is a phenomenal singer, and then Martin will be on top, and then I'll be underneath, and we'll get a really nice 3-part harmony going. You know, so that's really nice. Other than that, not really. Not really.
Well, you currently are in Departure, of course, and Endangered Souls, and you also play in Branded, which is a country band.
That's correct.
So tell us how you manage 3 bands with different songs, gigs, practices, etc.
My wife asked me the same thing. How do you remember all these songs? You know. What I found works for me is whatever band I have a gig with that week, that's what I'll practice. So for example, Brandon didn't have a gig this week, so I wasn't practicing their songs. Again, with this being almost at the 7-year mark, it doesn't take a lot of practice anymore, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that, but I still need to make sure I brush up on my stuff. So when it's coming time for stuff, I'm not like, okay, where was that again? You know, so
you want to be professional.
That really helps. You know, filling in with Flat Busted this week, that's pretty much all I worked on this week. So whatever gig's coming up, that's what I'll focus on. That's what I'll focus on. But this is really fun to come back to. You know, the amps get loud and all of that.
It's your foundation.
I'm gonna miss my hair today. I really am.
I know. I'm just saying too. Like, is that Andy? Where'd you go? So funny. Well, what is your favorite genre?
My favorite genre? Wow. That's a tough call. I've got quite a few. You know, country was probably the last horizon for me. Just because back in the 80s it was Randy Travis and stuff like that, and it just didn't appeal to me. But my first gig was actually with an R&B band. I was 19 years old. I couldn't get off the stage because it was in a bar, and I was playing with these guys who were in their 30s and stuff like that. So I'm pretty proud of myself. But you know, I heard a lot of different things growing up. Zeppelin, Crosby, Stills and Nash, obviously Santana, Journey, Skinner, Jethro Tull. I mean, it was really pretty much everything that was out and it was happening. In 1978, I think it was, I saw a couple concerts that were a turning point for me also. One was Kiss over in, I think it was Japan. And the showmanship just blew me away. You know, Ace was a very lyrical guitar player. He wasn't killing you with flash, but I mean, you can hum, you can whistle his solos, you know, and it went along perfectly with what they did, and their showmanship was just incredible. But then I also saw a soundstage concert with Journey on their very first tour with Steve Perry. And right about halfway through, they had some blues guys come out. Albert Collins, Luther Allison came out, and they just did this B.B. King song, and Neil just floored it. I'm like, oh man. So I'm influenced by a lot of things. I don't know if I have a favorite genre, especially now.
That's true.
Because it all kind of comes out. Again, they're colors for me, you know. And the more I can pull and the more I can stretch it out, it helps being in a country band. The more I can kind of stretch things out and push and pull, it keeps it fresh.
Dig it and use things from the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Exactly.
Well, now, in any genre, what is your favorite song to play?
In any genre?
Any genre.
Oh, jeez. You know, well, that's tough to say. In this band, probably my favorite song, and maybe it's an ode to my grandmother, I don't know, is called I'll Be Alright Without You. It came out on the Raise On Radio album. and it hits, you know, it hits. It's not something we ever want to say to somebody, you know, you're not here, but I'm going to be okay. And that's not what they wrote it for. You know, they wrote it because somebody broke up with them, and it's like, oh, I'll be okay without you, but that's kind of a tribute to her. So when you see it tonight, maybe you'll even record it, I don't know. I will just stretch out and just play and play and play and play. And it'll be beautiful. It'll be beautiful.
I'm gonna have tears.
I probably will too. I probably will too. Well, it's all heart for me. It's all heart. You know, I quit trying to play to musicians a long time ago. You know, and they'll you know, there might be 5 or 10 musicians here that are like, oh yeah, no, you missed a note. But there'll be 490 other people that'll be like this, you know, oh my God, that was great. So I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. I'm totally okay with that.
Like you can't look at individual notes, it's the whole thing. The feeling.
Exactly.
From the heart.
Exactly. And that's kind of, again, going back to being self-taught. That's my bread and butter. You know, that's my bread and butter. I can't go out and just wow somebody technically, and I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to.
Well, as fans, we feel the love that from the heart. We feel it from the heart.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. That's exactly why we do it. You know, once that energy starts to flow, you know, and we're giving it to the crowd, and the crowd's giving it back.
Absolutely.
There's no better high.
I know.
And we try and chase that high every single gig. Every single gig.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, Andy, thank you for an absolutely stellar interview.
Thank you, Lynn.
Amazing. That was really, really cool to get to know you.
Well, thank you, Lynn.
Awesome.
Thanks for taking your time with us, and it's going to be a fun night.
My pleasure. So, all right, let's go back and rock.
All right, I like it.